Hello, my name is Jeffrey Kirk. If you've been to my channel before, you probably know that I most often talk about online marketing related topics. And if you've never seen me before and you have a business, you might want to check out some of those videos. But today, I want to do something different. You see, I am the author of a book called 10 Million to 1, Refugee Resettlement, a How-To Guide. I wrote this book for volunteers who want to get involved with refugee resettlement. This is a life-changing service to humanity. In the past, anyone wanting to help refugees had to work with one of about 10 agencies in the U.S. that was approved under an agreement with the State Department. But now, there's Welcome Corps, which gives Americans the ability to create small groups who can welcome refugees into their local communities. If you have not worked with refugees before, let me tell you, it can be challenging, but it's also a very rewarding experience. In case you found this video and you're completely new to the idea of refugee resettlement, let me give you the definition of what a refugee is. This is according to the United Nations. A refugee is a person who, owing to a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group, or political opinion, is outside the country of his nationality and is unable, or owing to such fear, is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country. To summarize that definition, a refugee is someone who cannot go home or is afraid to go home. For refugees, their home is taken away suddenly and often by force. Since they must travel quickly and light, they leave the bulk of their possessions behind. They flee to a neighboring country where they may face inhospitable conditions, overcrowded refugee camps, few services, and little welcome. In a short time, they lose their previous lives, their possessions, their friends, and even their families. And their future is in jeopardy too. The average stay in a refugee camp has been climbing, and last time I checked, it was at about 17 years. Can you imagine being stuck, essentially with nowhere to go, for 17 years? What a waste for humanity to lose 17 years of life, contribution, and productivity from each of the 32.5 million refugees in the world. That's a staggering number. Back when I wrote the book, I called it 10 million to 1 because there were about 10 million refugees at that time. But as a volunteer, you only have to worry about helping one family at a time. Refugee resettlement is a process that removes refugees from the country they're in and helps them start a new life somewhere that will accept them. Therefore, refugee resettlement helps make the world a better place. One team helps one family start a new life. And the goal, as I like to describe it, is to acclimate newly arriving refugees and help them become successful, contributing members of society within about 6 months. And with Welcome Corps, the sponsorship commitment is only 90 days, 3 months. But keep in mind, you'll want to help refugees be successful, and that doesn't always neatly happen within 90 days. There are many aspects to refugee resettlement, from meeting the arriving family at the airport to helping them get housing, furnishings, food, medical attention, education, jobs, and more. There is a lot of work involved, but when approached with the right mindset, it is a completely doable short-term process. The biggest obstacle to volunteer involvement is awareness, but creating awareness is only the first step. Once individuals or groups become aware of the need, then their own fears often kick in. People are held back because refugee resettlement is a new idea to them. And new ideas are scary because we imagine everything that can go wrong. If there's a problem somewhere, you'll definitely hear about it. But the hundreds and thousands of great outcomes, well, that stuff doesn't make the news. So basically, getting involved in refugee resettlement is all about overcoming those fears. And there are typically 3 really big fears that people have to face. And nearly all the reasons and excuses people have for not participating fall into one of those three fears. I'll go over those fears in a different video. But for now, what if I can assure you that you can get past them? What if it were possible that you could not fail? What if I could provide you with the formula for success before you even get started? Because you see, there is a formula with 5 success factors, and these 5 points will help you overcome every obstacle you might encounter along the way. So here is that formula, made up of the 5 success factors. Success factor number 1, know why. Before you get started with refugee resettlement, you must know why you want to be involved. And why is much more important than how. Now, I know this isn't your first thought. You most likely think if you know how, then you'll be successful. But I assure you, based on other volunteers I've worked with in the past, knowing why you're getting involved is really the key here. You must have good personal reasons to help. Those reasons don't really matter as long as they are meaningful to you. For example, you might want to be an advocate for world peace, or fight to alleviate hunger and poverty. Perhaps you want to learn about a different culture without having to leave the comfort of your own home. Maybe you want a good excuse to learn a new language. Maybe you like to teach. Maybe you have an intense love for other people. Maybe you have experienced a spiritual calling. Maybe you have a completely different reason I haven't mentioned. Whatever it is, that reason, combined with a vision of a positive outcome, will carry you through the entire process and give you confidence, even if something doesn't go as smoothly as you'd like it to. Success factor number 2, plan ahead. If you add up the total hours it takes to achieve a successful resettlement, it's a lot. You cannot do it alone or with just 1 or 2 helpers. You'll burn out. The Welcome Course suggests that Americans work in groups of at least 5. Personally, I think the key step in planning ahead is to find a team of at least 10 people. That way the burden on any individual is easily handled. With a good-sized group, the time and energy can be shared, so the process is not a burden on anyone. And it means if something comes up, taking one of your team members away for a while, or even permanently, it's still okay. There's someone else who can step in. Success factor number 3, develop your team. Now that you have your team, it's time to start understanding how you're going to go about doing refugee resettlement. Each person should get an understanding of the overall goals and how those goals are going to be accomplished. Then you can mold your team around the concepts. And that leads us to success factor number 4. And this is a big one. Divide and conquer. So you have your team and you know what needs to be done. Now divide those responsibilities. Some of your team members will enjoy certain tasks more than others. Try to take advantage of each person's strengths and desires. If everyone works on the parts of resettlement that are the most fun for them, the experience is better for everyone. I strongly recommend you have a chairperson who coordinates the communication and movement of others. And when life comes up for someone, the chairperson can help fill in or reach out to one of the other team members to take over. At some point, your refugee family will arrive. And since you have all the groundwork in place, with knowing why, planning ahead, developing your team, and dividing responsibilities, you're going to conquer every task that must be completed. And you're going to do a great job. And that leads us to success factor number 5. And that is celebrate progress. I've already mentioned that refugee resettlement is a lot of work. You've made it to this point because you took the first 4 success factors seriously. Now celebrate. Don't wait until the end. Celebrations can be small acts of thanking someone for helping. They can be grand acts like celebrating milestones such as the kids are in school, or adults are getting jobs, or even, woohoo, the family has their own telephone service. Yes. Does someone on your team have a birthday? Invite the entire team and your refugee family for a party. Likewise, if someone in the refugee family has a birthday, they will probably invite you. Go celebrate with them. These celebrations help reinforce your original reasons for getting involved. So take the opportunity to enjoy the good times whenever they come up, every single time they come up. For more details on these resettlement success factors, along with complete descriptions of team tasks and responsibilities and many other points to help with your success, get my book, 10 Million to 1, Refugee Resettlement, a how-to guide. It's there to make it easy for you. I'll include a link in the description below. Now, before I end, I'd like to summarize the possibility you are facing now that you have awareness of refugee resettlement. You see, refugee resettlement gives us a chance to have an impact on the world, one family at a time. Maybe it doesn't seem like helping one family will make much of a difference in a problem that touches millions and millions of people. But it does make a tremendous difference for that one family. You are offering a life-saving gift. If you are Christian, you might feel you are showing the love of Christ as a missionary in your own town. If you're of another faith, your experience will likely connect you deeper to that. If you don't come from a faith or religious background at all, you still might discover some level of spirituality that surprises you. Or maybe you'll just feel the world got a little smaller. There's no judgment here. And whether you live in a big city or a rural community, you might view your role as small, wondering what impact you could truly have on the world. But consider what can be accomplished if we all pitch in and reach out beyond ourselves. What difference can we make then? You see, love does not recognize borders or distance. Prayer is not stopped because it encounters an ocean. Grace is not withheld because of a war somewhere. Peace is the responsibility of all of us. And truly, that's what refugee resettlement is all about. We're taking a negative human event and turning it into a positive one. So what difference can you make in the world? You can make all the difference.